Hello, I'm Emma Jo from Lavinia Stamps, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how I made this. Let's cover my face, it's much better. So I've used a large watercolour card tag from Lavinia Stamps, and I've used Shoal fish stamp, some of the elements, a fair bit of the scrag ends of my Fab Foil collection. Can you see that fish skin? Isn't it fab? I love that. You know, many's the time I've looked at the iridescence that you get on a fish scale, and I've thought, how on earth has that been created? Then I've thought, how on earth can I recreate that? So that was my thoughts behind this today. I wanted to see if I could make that stencil do what I wanted it to do. So I believe I have, but come with me and let me show you how it's done.
Here we go. Let's start off with the background. So I've got my large watercolour card tag, a size 9 stencil brush, and my old favourite Elements Ink Sundance. And I'm just going to cover that tag about 3/4 of the way across with yellow. And then I've got my Elements Ink Dark Denim, and I'm using some blue there. Obviously starting darker in the corners. And now we're going to do some stamping. Right, so I've got my Shoal of Fish stamp, not easy to say, and I'm using some VersaFine Clair Warm Breeze and Verdant. And so I've inked up half in one colour, half in another. And I'm just putting that stamp at an angle to suggest movement. You may have gathered this is quite a fishy tag. And I'm just going to build up those fish, going along with the same idea, half Warm Breeze, half Verdant. I'm just filling in the gaps with some of the second or third inked bits of the stamp. Does that make sense? The second or third attempts at inking. Now I've used VersaFine Clear Cheerful to ink up the whole stamp and just add more fish, because you can never have enough fish. Now we're using a stencil. This is one of the new ones. It is Nimbus. I love this. It is a fish scale stamp. So using a size 9 stencil brush and some Elements Ink green sleeves, I'm just going to add some scales, some texture on top of those fish. And it's going to get more textury, I promise you. Texture is not really a word, but for today we'll pretend it is. Fab. And using 3D adhesive paste. I love this stuff. So reposition your scale, your Nimbus stencil, and I'm using that lid bit. Just if you're going to use this, remember to wash it afterwards, otherwise it can get stuck shut. Just push this through your stencil, and I'm going to put it around the outside because I'm going to try and turn it into fish scales. It's fabulous. So once you've done that, just apply a little bit of heat from the Ranger heat tool just to speed the heat process along. You can wait, but you know I'm impatient. What I would say though is if you do notice it start to bubble, stop heating it and just wait. Now let's make it shiny. Now this is fab. Using all the scrag ends of your Fab Foils, you know, the bits where you've used it and there's a gap, a bit that hasn't been used, or just use those bits because you're going to build up the colour. You don't want a huge block of one colour. We're going to create, it's a bit like Rainbow Trout skin. fabulous. No fish were hurt in the making of this tag. So now let's go and get the silver. Again, it's stuff that you've used before and has still got little bits left over on it. And you're just rubbing that over the 3D paste in places. Now let's get the, which one is it? Blush, I think. Fab Foils blush. And just do the same as we've done before. Yes, there we go. Just use your finger and your thumb to burnish it over the top of that 3D adhesive paste. And as you take that off, you should be able to see how absolutely gorgeous that is. Can you see it? Every now and again you get a catch of pink or a catch of blue. It's stunning. Let's add some text. So I'm just going to rip because I like doing that. And this is using some of the coloured card that we have, which is 6x6. And I've chosen some from the pastels pack, a blue. And I'm, guess what? Adding bibbidi bobbidi glue. And I'm putting 3 little bits down the middle. These are going to act as a sort of background, but not a frame, because we're going to be putting our sentiment stickers, we're going to be offsetting them against that. So they're not going to sit perfectly in them. So this is our sentiment sticker from sentiment sticker set 5, and it's full steam ahead. There we go. And just add a little bit of white to the edges, a couple of dots. Do whatever you feel you want to do to make that stand out a bit more. But I've just done a couple of dots there. Finishing touches. Aha, I know what this is. Grab your size 3 stencil brush, a little bit of Elements ink, dark denim, yes, and just imagine that you are running that stencil brush up the craft mat, not up the tag. If you aim for the centre to be on the craft mat just outside the tag, you should get quite a nice little frame going. Now don't worry if you're going over the foil, because that as well is a lovely effect on the foil. It becomes slightly stained by it. Can you see me putting it into my lid? I feel like I'm using a makeup brush or something, but it works for me, and I can reactivate that with water later on. So I'm not losing any ink, which is fabulous. So taking that brush, just run it under the ripped paper and give it a little bit of, I don't know, a shadow. And I think with a little bit of aqua green, we're nearly there. So a couple of dots. You could maybe even do some bubbles or add some eyes to your fish. Fab. Oh, need to stop using that word. But all these little extra bits make all the difference. But really, the crowning glory of this piece is those foils through the Nimbus Stencil. So this is where I'm doing my bubble effect. Little bit of Posca, white Posca pen. Fabulous. You did it. Well done.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, because there's nothing quite like the satisfaction of knowing that you've got a technique to do exactly what you wanted it to do. And I'm happy. This is the happy face. yeah, so I hope you enjoyed making this tag. I certainly have. Just look at that. It's not really picking up the colours on here, but there's pinks, there's silvers, there's pale blue, just like you'd see on fish scales. It's just, I'm not going to talk anymore. Right. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I certainly did. If you've got any comments you'd like to make about this craft, please pop them in the post below and I will do my very best to get back in touch with you. In the meantime, you take care, lovelies, and I'll see you soon. Bye.